The house is burning, but we're still sitting in the glow. Phones charged, lights on, pretending we don't know. But the forest is silent, the river's running low, and the flame on our plates is the strongest fire we throw. Put out the fire, put out the fire. Echoes and rise, this is your hour. 7 boundaries broken, the earth pushed past the line. Climate, land, species, fresh water, chemicals, nutrients, oceans in decline. Not danger, disaster in real time. Put out the fire, ooh, put out the fire. Metaphorians rise, this is your power. And here in India, one truth stands the same. Milk is not just milk, dairy feeds the flame. Cows and methane, fields and forests turn to grain. Politics, culture, carbon, all wired to the same chain. Every cup of curd is heat in the air, every block of butter is a forest repair. It's not a small habit, it's a planetary affair. Put out the fire, put out the fire. Echoes and rise, this is our hour. Energy fixes half the hurt, Dr. Rao made that clear. But food fixes the other half, the half that's burning here. Change the plate, change the land, change the future's atmosphere. Put out the fire, put out the fire. Metaphorians unite, this is your choir. Every millet, every fruit, every sapseed, every bean is water on the wildfire of a world we've never seen. Every oil-free bite is a river turning clean. This is not perfection, it's direction. Not pressure, but protection. A week of choices can cool a generation. A company's courage can ignite a nation. Put out the fire, ooh, put out the fire. Echoes and rise, this is your hour. Metaphorians unite, Metaphorians ignite, sharing love in the metazone, light in the path to a cooler home. Put out the fire, ooh, put out the fire. Together we rise, together we inspire.
Welcome to the Planet B podcast, where truth, transformation, and faith converge. Join us as we flip the script on ecological despair, guided by Dr. Sailesh Rao's vision for a compassionate, rewilded vegan world. Let's begin the journey to the greatest transformation in human history.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Planet B podcast. Today is episode 5, and the title is House on Fire. Dr. Rao, House on Fire. That's quite a chapter title. Where would you like to start with this?
We have to act as if our house is on fire. And it's like you have to set your life on fire and seek those who fan your flames. That's what Rumi said. And that's the quote I use to begin the chapter. It's like we have to become that enthusiastic firefighters for the planet. So when our house is on fire, we abandon our daily routines and do whatever it takes to put out the fire. And that's the kind of urgency that we need to have today to address what's happening to the life support systems of our planet.
How does that statement, house on fire, and us being the firefighters and the guardians of Mother Earth, how does that relate to the current situation? What actions should we take to take on that role as guardian?
Yeah, I ask people to use the analogy of our house on fire. Suppose your house is on fire. What would you do? You would not be looking for cream on your coffee. You would not be looking for breakfast. You would be looking for the nearest bucket and how to load that bucket up with water so you can put it on the fire and put out the fire. So you change your daily routines. You change your routines, you reorganize yourself to become a bucket brigade to put out the fire. And so that's the framing I want people to think about. This is why I use the house on fire as an analogy for what is going on. And fortunately for me, my house did catch fire. So I kind of understand because it caught fire and I know what happened to me, how my perspectives changed, when the house caught fire. I was most interested in the life that was in the house, my children, as opposed to the things I had accumulated. So I didn't go looking for my things to save when my house caught fire. I was looking for just my children.
So take us through that. It's for people who read chapter 5, some of the story is in the book, but it really highlights how you had a realization about the Planet A systems and then why we need to shift to this new Planet B perspective. So maybe share a little bit about what happened that day in 1993, I believe.
Yeah, 1993. We had just moved into a new home. It had been custom built for us. And we were just there for a month, I think. We still had boxes in the garage. And I had bought a brand new car and I parked it in my garage. And the next morning, the car caught fire. And we didn't know. I didn't know that. I was in the kitchen talking to a colleague of mine. And my son came running out saying, "Dad, there's smoke coming out of the vents." I told him the heater just came on. It was in fall in New Jersey. So don't worry about it. It'll go away. And he came out running again saying, "Dad, there's black smoke coming out of the vents." And this time I paid attention because my phone went dead. So I ran to the room that they were in, which was above the garage, and I saw black smoke coming out. So I ran downstairs to the garage, opened the door, and the car was spitting flames at me. So I immediately shut the door and hit the alarm, grabbed my children and ran out because I knew that anything could happen if the car is on fire. And the policeman came to put out the fire before the fire engine came. The policeman had come and he took pictures. So I still have pictures from the policeman's camera. Right?
Wow.
And the firefighters came and put out the fire. Then I called the dealer who had sold me the car and said, "What the heck did he sell me? This car caught fire." Yeah?
Brand new.
Brand new. And the dealer said, "Oh my God, it happened to you."
That's
And
probably not what you wanted to hear right away.
right. Because apparently that car had an issue, a manufacturing defect that causes it to spontaneously combust. Okay? And my car was the 8th car that caught fire. And so the dealer gave me the number of an engineer to talk to, and that engineer had been studying this problem. And they knew what the fix was. The fix was to put a plastic sleeve around a fuel line. It costs $1.
Wow.
But to get to the fuel line, it costs $100 in labor. So totally it's like $101. And they're already sold like 10 million cars. 10,000 cars, yeah, in the US alone. So it will cost like $1 million to solve the problem. But headquarters wanted to wait for 10 cars to catch fire before they declare it as the real problem.
Mhm.
And then solve it, right? Mine was the 8th car that caught fire. So within a month, or maybe 2 months after my car caught fire, they issued a recall on the car to fix that problem. But the way the manufacturer dealt with it opened my eyes to how things happen on planet A. They knew there was a problem. They were fixing it in the lab. They were trying to figure out how to solve it in the lab. But they'd already given the product out to customers. And they keep quiet about that, because if they told you that there's a problem, you're working on it, everybody would return the car. Nobody would buy the car again, right? So they would have no choice but to fix it. But then they will be out $1 million. What if there was really no problem? What if it was just a lab problem? So there is all these calculations that happen with bean counters, figuring out what is the right action to do. And someone decided 10 cars should catch fire before we issue a recall. Until then, we keep quiet about it.
Right.
So there is this secrecy built into the system. There is this, this is my intellectual property. That's your intellectual property. There's all these divisions that happen within humanity. So we don't have an openness in our systems. So we have privacy for large corporations, and they want to know exactly what we are thinking. So there is individual transparency that they build in to the system. So that's how Planet A works.
All right. And then also on that, it shows the financial. It shows that when they were doing the bean counting, they weighed the financial more than, sadly, a potential life or house or livelihood of a family. To the financial would outweigh that. Right.
Yeah. So they wound up paying more than the $1 million, right? Eventually.
Yeah.
Because they wound up paying for rebuilding my home. They wound up paying for recalling the cars and fixing all of them. So if you look at the overall cost to the company, it was way more than what they started off thinking it would cost. So if they had been open about it and done it, it would have been less cost for them. Right? But in hindsight.
All right. And then the professor, I think that's one of the funniest parts about the whole story is the university professor that came to check out the problem.
Yeah. They sent a professor to check out the problem. And I was watching the professor, and he was going around looking at everything except the car.
Oh shit, that's mind-blowing.
Yeah. So I went to him and I said, Professor, why are you looking at all these other things? When I spoke to the engineer, and he explained to me how the car caught fire, and that mine was the 8th car that caught fire. And the professor was very upset. He went to his people and he said, how can I do my job? This guy knows everything. And his job was to come up with an alternate explanation for the fire. And this is typical of how disputes are resolved in the system on Planet A. Every side assumes that their main role is to protect their side, as opposed to find the truth.
Right.
Right. So everybody is trying to come up with explanations that would make their side come out on top compared to the other side. So it's all in oppositional. It's all in competition, as opposed to collaborating to figure out what really happened, and therefore how do we really solve the problem. Now we do the second part on Planet B, the Planet B part of collaborating to solve problems, when we are in the same company, right?
Right.
So when you're in the company, you're working together, then you're open with each other and you're figuring out how to solve problems together. But between companies and between the corporation and the public, there is this secrecy, this wall of secrecy built in. And this professor's job was to figure out an alternate explanation for the fire. And he came up with something, and then he involved the heating company. The heating company had to go find their own engineers to come and argue that it was not their heater that caused the problem. And so there's so much waste that I saw happening in the system because of this oppositional approach to solving problems.
So how would this have been solved on Planet B? So for instance, someone unfortunately got a car, there was an issue with the car, it started a fire.
Right.
How would you see this turned upside down?
I would say that every corporation has to be open source on Planet B. So meaning if they find a problem, they should post it on the internet so everybody sees that there is a problem. And they could say, here's the probability that this problem could cause fires. And here is the cost of repairing it. If you would like it to be repaired, we'll do it right away. So meaning the process has to be open source. So imagine that all corporations are non-profit corporations who have to be, and they're posting everything on the website as they find it, right? So people are building products, but they're being open with what the product could do or what could not do. And people, then the customers who are using the product, have the ability to look through it and say, okay, I want this recall to happen right away on mine. I don't want to take a chance. And there is no fault finding. There's no, say, it's your fault that this happened. Everybody takes responsibility for their own actions.
Yeah. And even if things were open source, the problem would have probably been fixed even before getting to the public, because if other people were cross-checking the blueprints and the design, they probably would have found the flaw before the first car set on fire.
Absolutely, absolutely. Because the fuel line was routed too close to the windshield washer heater. That was the main issue. And the windshield washer heater was always on. And the fuel line, if it had any leaks, the fuel vapors would accumulate around the heater and eventually ignite. And that's how the fires start within the car. And someone else would have found it. Yeah, you're right.
So going back to the vision of the house on fire, so we have to, hopefully we'll feel that our house is on fire with Mother Earth because of the environmental issues that are taking place. And then now you've seen what's by living that experience, what that actually feels like. How do we implement that feeling into our daily lives with what's going on the planet in 2026?
Yeah, we have to have that sense of urgency to repair the life support systems of the planet and to maintain a living planet. Okay, you have to have that sense of urgency. You don't want to wait until systems die or systems collapse. For instance, if the life support systems start collapsing, it could be that your food production just suddenly goes, plummets, or your oxygen in the atmosphere suddenly plummets. Things like that. You don't want to wait until such massive, drastic changes happen to the life support systems and then say, how do I fix it?
Right.
Right? When the signals are there from nature, this is the time to do it urgently. We are already seeing that the earth is overheating. Okay? The last 3 years have been the hottest years ever. And if you look at the average of the last 3 years, it's 1.5 degrees. So we have exceeded the 1.5 degrees that the Paris Agreement said that we will never exceed. Okay? And so,
Right.
and as it is, we are seeing, the beginning of the year in 2025, we had these horrendous wildfires in California, and a lot of rich homes got burned down. Right? Now, the rich people may have insurance, and therefore it doesn't matter to them. But it tells you that these this kind of disruption can happen to anybody. Okay?
Right.
And so that's, these are just symptoms of potential catastrophic failure. It's like you got a heart attack, but you still survived. That doesn't
Right.
mean you can ignore and say, okay, I can keep doing what I'm doing until my next heart attack happens.
Right. And I think one of the really important quotes in this chapter is you talk about at this point in time, because of the critical period that we're in, it's like you wouldn't just kind of let your sister go about doing things the way that they've always done. Like you have to or should notify them about this issue, educate them, and try to get them out of the house and part of the solution as fast as you can. So how does this relate to this Planet B concept in veganism?
Yeah, the analogy I use is if your house is on fire and your sister is in the next room and she's not aware that the house is on fire, would you not tell her? Would you tell her, let her find out for herself? Or would you actively go around telling everybody in the house is on fire, the house is on fire?
Right.
Right. I'd say you would do the latter. Now, I know that our planet is on fire. This is why I'm spending all my time trying to tell people, hey, the planet's on fire. I don't know when it's going to get out of control. As a systems engineer, I don't know. All I know is that today, if we all go vegan, it'll be like putting water on the fire, on every aspect of that fire. So we would, and then once we go vegan, we can figure out whether the fire has already gone out of control or not. Until then, we don't even know that fire has already gone out of control. Now, I'm 66 years old, okay? And I'm living the 23rd year of my bonus years on this planet, because when I was born, my life expectancy was 42. Or 24th year of my bonus years now. So I don't mind dying. But I don't want you all, everybody, to die. I don't want that to be my legacy as an engineer. This is what we did. We destroyed a planet.
Yeah.
That's not what I want my legacy to be, right? I want all of us, in fact, I'm appealing to all of my engineering colleagues to come together and rebuild the human engineered systems on the planet so that they are in alignment with the life support systems of the planet. Because right now the human engineered systems are in conflict with the life support systems of the planet. Okay? And it doesn't have to be. We can easily design systems that are all in alignment with the life support systems. And
Yeah.
that's the Planet B solution that we are talking about. Because rather than stressing the life support systems further and further because we don't want to change our human engineered systems, I'd say it's easier to change the human engineered systems to be in alignment with the life support systems and not look for solutions on Mars after we have stressed it to the point of no return.
Right. So people who are part of this Planet B, world peace, social justice movement, do you think it's important for them to go out and share this Planet B message?
Absolutely. Absolutely. I want everybody to go and tell their friends and family that the situation is dire on the planet, and our billionaires are talking about going to Mars or the moon. But instead of doing that, Planet B is a systems engineering solution, a framework for re-engineering the human engineered systems on the planet so that they are in alignment with the life support systems. And we need to be doing that instead. Okay?
Right.
And that requires us to address the foundational issues in the system, rebuild the system on axioms that we know to be true. Because we inherited these systems. We didn't really build all of them ourselves. We inherited them and we just carried along. And at some point you say, whatever we inherited, was built on false foundations.
Right.
So that means that we have to redesign them from scratch. And our generation gets the chance to do it. We're the
It's
only
such an
ones who can do
exciting
it.
time. Yeah,
Yeah,
it's such an exciting time in the world.
absolutely, it is. It is, because it is bringing this earth back, meaning the earth is getting browner and browner year by year. If I look at the satellite picture of the earth, it breaks my heart. The earth is getting browner and browner instead of greener and greener. So eventually, this is why the billionaires want to go to Mars or the moon, because they know it's going to become a brown earth at some point, completely brown. And I'd say let's make the earth greener and greener year by year, and we can engineer that to happen.
Yeah, that's beautiful. For people who are part of the Planet B solution, who may feel shy or uncomfortable to talk about the core of the solution, which is veganism, how do you suggest they get involved or um, approach people or become more familiar with talking about these concepts?
Well, get yourself familiar with the basic science and the data on land use, data on how much protein is there in plant foods and so on, so that when people ask you questions, you're ready with the answer, right? And then you can tell them, I've done this, I've already become healthier and healthier. So it's also important for vegans to become healthy.
Right.
And we'll go into all of that. We have to become the best ambassadors for Planet B.
Leading by example, right?
Leading by example, yeah. Because
Yeah.
it's only when people see you having so much energy and you are glowing when you're working on this, they'll say, I want to be like this guy. I want to do that.
Yeah. It's true. There is vibrant, healthy people who are on a plant-based diet. There is an energy about them that seems undeniable.
Right. And I think it mainly comes from putting the right fuel in our bodies, whole food, plant-based meals, and then exercising regularly and, maintaining your health. Okay, maintaining your health. So I started going on this upward spiral in my health. Beginning when I went vegan, because I lost all my arthritic pains and, I suddenly felt like a 16-year-old again. And then over time, I transitioned more and more to a whole food plant-based way of living. And I do my exercises regularly. I do my yoga and my meditation every day. And this allows me to present this aura of well-being on the planet. So as human beings get healthier and healthier, you will automatically see the planet get healthier and healthier. Because we will be going around and helping everyone, helping the planet, helping the animals, and helping Mother Earth recover.
Which goes back to the slogan for PlanetB.now and for climate healers, which is transform yourself, transform our planet, transform our world.
Yeah, transform yourself, transform our world. And it works both ways. So as you work to transform our world, you'll be transforming yourself. As you transform yourself, you'll be transforming our world. So it works both ways.
And that's what's so cool and exciting about this Planet B movement as well, is because when you gather the people together that are vibrant, that are energized through plant-based foods, through wanting to solve the climate crisis, the energy can't be stopped.
Yeah, absolutely. It cannot be stopped. But there is a system around it. That's the other thing I want to emphasize, is that you have to address the system that is making us become more and more diseased over time, right? And that system is built on all these planetary myths. And so we have to create systems built on axioms for us to solve our problems.
Yeah, that's beautiful. So as we close out episode 5, Our House on Fire, Dr. Rao, is there anything that you'd like to share as some closing words?
fire is always a metaphor for transformation. So please look at it from that perspective, that we are transforming ourselves. Transform yourself, transform our world. And I use the word transform as opposed to change because of what Tracy Martin said. Change is inevitable, but transformation is intentional.
That's beautiful. Dr. Rao, thank you so much. And next episode, we talk about the 9 planetary boundaries, and the title is Our Planetary Home on Fire.
This has been a podcast from Planet B, where we've always done it this way has lost their job. If you haven't moved here yet, we thank you for visiting.
We thank you for visiting. And please raise your hand if you have any questions. Go ahead, Rebecca.
Thank you. I guess I will start it off. I'm wondering about the dichotomy of the house is on fire, so I have to tell you. It's important. It's a big deal. You've got to do something. And I'm going to be gentle and talk to people and just mention, by the way, the climate is burning. You know, that the urgency with which we feel it because we see so much potential. It could go the right way though, but how do you balance that? How do you have that passion and then not say anything because, well, it's not the right moment, or they don't want to hear it?
Right. Yeah. It's an interesting dichotomy that we are in. You know, we are in a Paul Revere type of moment, right? We have to go tell people that there is Paul Revere went around saying the British are coming, British are coming. And here we are saying the planet is dying, the planet is dying. How do I know? Because I see it getting browner and browner year by year, right? And you know, there are all these, like all the planetary boundary transgressions are telling me that it's a loop in which everything is feeding on itself. You know, one transgression is making the other transgressions worse. Every transgression is making every other transgression worse. Which means we have to do something that addresses all of them simultaneously. And we know how to do that. You know, that's the beauty of it, right? That's the vegan solution, the vegan rewilding solution. So it's not just we are telling them there's a problem. We're also saying there's a solution to the problem. And its solution is based on science that says that if you just do this, you can reverse all 7 planetary boundary transgressions. Right? So this is why you have to have a sense of not only, in addition to the sense of urgency, you are giving them a good news. You don't have to be stuck in this system that is basically using you. Literally you're being used, right? You're being exploited by the system. They're mining your health for profit. Not only are they mining the planet for profit, they're mining your health for profit. So as you go on an upward spiral, becoming healthier and healthier, you're automatically helping the planet also become healthier and healthier. So, and we can engineer systems that are all about health. And some of these things, I would say even, I don't blame anyone for the way the system is, because we inherited it based on things that people thought were true 200 years ago. And we just forgot to update it. You know, even though we know better, we didn't update it. We have always been told that animals are like machines. They don't have any feelings. And now we know it's not true. But we still treat them as if they're machines. Right? I mean, we know it's not true. We have known it's not true for hundreds of years. And now even scientists are saying it's not true. Okay? As of 2012, officially, we know it's not true. And yet we are still treating them as if they are machines. So we have this lag, this time lag on implementing reality, or modifying our systems so that they are in alignment with reality. And it's gotten so bad now that I came up with 10 different mass delusions, right? And there are a whole bunch more. It's just 10 major mass delusions that I came up with, and we need to create systems that are not resting on mass delusions, because such systems are fundamentally not sustainable. In engineering, it's always about aligning with reality. If you're not aligned with reality, your product that you're designing will fail, period. And we are seeing that happen on a planetary scale for engineered systems, for human engineered systems. So who can fix it? Well, engineers have to fix it.
Engineers fix it, but it's the people that come together that stop consumption of an exploitation.
Yeah, I mean, people have to ask the engineers, can you fix it? Can you give us the resources to actually fix it?
Oh, I see.
It's like what happened with the Delhi metro and the Kolkata metro, right? Kolkata metro, they were using it to make money. It's a highly corrupt system. Whereas the Delhi metro, they told the engineers, please fix it. Please create a transportation system that works for everybody. And it got implemented properly.
Were the limitations different, or was it the goals that they set?
The process was also different, right? So they allowed the engineers to have the final say in who gets hired, who doesn't get hired, and they allowed them to create their own marketing program and everything, right? So there was no political interference.
Ah,
Right.
right.
Yeah, the goal was to build something that actually works as quickly as possible, because the ministers were getting stuck in traffic in Delhi. So all the politicians were getting stuck in traffic, and they wanted the metro to happen. And so the engineer who they invited to build the project, he basically said, I need complete freedom to do it right. And they said, okay. And it got done right. Now, for 30 years, we have been fooling around with the planet's life support systems, trying to make money off of it, right? Mm-hmm. And the richest man in the world is basically someone who's made money off of electric cars, even though that's not the first thing I would have done to implement the solution to climate change and planetary boundary transgressions. I wouldn't have touched that first. Okay? So, but that's what it's become. It's become a corrupt money-making venture instead of actually solving the problem. And now they're scared that it's going to go out of control, and they're thinking of plans to go to Mars or to Moon, and creating colonies there so that there'll be at least a rump of humanity that can survive. This is not the way to solve problems.
He didn't ask probably, how do I solve environmental problems? It was more probably how to make money. Oh, we can market it this way. Am I off base, or?
Yeah, I think they decided early on that the solutions are not palatable to those who are very powerful, and they decided that they're going to have to let nature take its course. But nature can be quite unforgiving, right? And systems can collapse, including life support systems that can collapse. I'm actually amazed that the oxygen levels in the atmosphere are still up there.
I was thinking about how that has not been brought up very much. We know that the forest and the trees are taking carbon out of the atmosphere, and they make the oxygen for us. All the plants in the
Correct.
forest make the oxygen, and if we cut all the forest, well, where is the oxygen going to come from? And I remember
Well,
reading that.
trees on land are producing about 40% of the oxygen, and then there's the other 60% comes from phytoplankton in the ocean.
Okay, thank you.
But we have cut half the trees on the planet. Even though we cut half the trees on the planet, the remaining trees are doing double duty. So they are behaving like they are double trees, because they bulked up with the increase in CO2 in the atmosphere. They bulked up and they're doing double duty on oxygen production. And so somehow the oxygen level has still stayed the same. But then we are continuing to marinate the trees with chemical pollution. We are marinating the phytoplankton with chemical pollution. At some point, like what happens in rivers today, is that we have pushed the system beyond what it can handle, and the oxygen levels in rivers have gone down, have plummeted. And this is why the fish are dying in the rivers. Okay, and we're doing the same thing in the atmosphere too, to the atmosphere too. So we are pushing it. So I don't know when it will collapse. I don't know, but it's a possibility.
Thank you so much, Dr. Rao.
Hello, Barb.
You can
Hi there. I was just thinking, I want to be in a farmer's market in the summertime, have a table, have my own table. And usually I've been doing like little pamphlets. And I do have two environmental pamphlets because I was big on that, and one on health and one on vegan foods you can find in the store. But people usually just kind of take those and go on off. I don't really get conversations going. And I keep thinking that maybe I'm approaching a lot of things wrong, and I could have this fascinating table that would bring a lot of people if I get into some of these conversations. I just need your brain, but basically I need to be able to answer like you, but I was thinking, because there's Pride. I have a table at Pride every year. And then where I live, it's corn and soy country and ADM and tons of farmers. And we have the Farm Progress Show in our town. But I kept thinking, how can I get a message to these farmers? It's like I feel like there's all this potential for me to do more than I'm doing. And I feel like I need to redo how I do things from listening to you. So I don't know. This is just like, if you have suggestions for me, please.
Yeah, some of the activists, they use like conversation starters. They put a big sign in front saying, "Ask me why the world will be vegan," or something like that.
Or put out the fire, and they come over like, "What are you talking about?"
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Something like that, catchy, that people will start asking you questions, and then you have to be prepared to engage in a dialogue and be kind to people, even as you engage in dialogue. It doesn't get us anywhere to get mad at people.
Yeah.
Yeah. There are some really good conversationalists like Earthling Ed. You can watch him,
Oh,
and even Arvind, Arvind animal activist.
what's his name? Arvind?
He mostly he works out of India, and his name is Arvind Animal Activist.
I feel like I might know who that is.
Yeah, I put his name in the chat.
Okay, all
So
right.
these are people who do a good
Uh,
job of entering into conversations with people and dialogue with
okay.
people.
Yeah, yeah. I wish that's another thing with that Earthling Ed. His mind is just so good, and his patience and his, how
Right,
he knows how to draw people and all that. Yeah, I need to watch more of his videos. I've gotten away from him just because there's so much else in the world that captures my attention, and
right, yeah.
but yeah, that sounds real helpful. Okay, thank you.
But mostly Earthling Ed talks about the animal ethics
Hmm.
point of view.
Hmm.
I feel like the environmental angle is so much more urgent.
Yeah, yeah, I think so too. I think that um, people just, yeah, they're not aware, and they just don't want to hear. They just want to keep doing their thing, and so we have to make them aware. We have to get this out there. Yeah,
Right,
we're the ones who have to do it. Mhm.
yeah.
Okay, all right.
Because I mean, we see the Earth in a downward spiral, right? Because it's everything
Mhm.
is getting browner and browner year by year, and
Mhm.
more forests are being destroyed every year, and at we know exactly where that will go if we keep doing that.
Yeah,
All these systems will collapse.
yeah. I could have a big picture of all the brownness. Of a satellite picture or something of all the brownness,
Yeah,
and I could start conversations around something like that. Yeah,
yeah. There
yeah,
are plenty of satellite pictures available now to show
okay,
exactly how brown the Earth has become.
okay, all right. Well, thank you.
Sure, Pooja.
Hi, Dr. Rao. So my question is regarding the sense of urgency that we feel. Um, we are still talking from a standpoint of privilege because a lot of people uh, are not still trying to think of what about tomorrow, how to survive the next few days, and why would they think about the larger planetary problems,
Right. Yeah.
especially
Yeah.
developing
No, I hear you.
countries.
People are not aware that the planet is
How
on
do
fire.
we um,
I'm sorry, you're getting cut off.
yeah, even if they're aware, sorry, even if people are aware, then there's nothing much they can do because they're caught in a trap where they'll have to
Yeah.
survive. So that is, unless that inequality is sorted and everyone is comfortable to meet their needs, we wouldn't think about the next goal, right?
Correct. Correct. Yeah. A lot of people are stuck uh, in a rut, right? So
Mm.
they cannot escape. They are stuck. But those of us who can escape, who have the choices, who can make those decisions, they are the ones who have to start it,
Right.
right? And then we can figure out how to help those who are stuck, because basically it's a system that's got them trapped. Okay,
Mm.
and I really believe that even the ones who are running the system are stuck. You know,
Right.
I mean, I've asked a classmate of mine about some, because he's a very high up in Google. I asked him, how come something like this is going on? Because I know that Google is doing something crazy they shouldn't be doing, and he's not responding to me. So which means that he's stuck. Even he cannot change, right? So
Right.
what's the point of being so high up in a big corporation if you are a slave? If you don't have the freedom to actually change anything?
Very true. So all of us who can meet our basic needs need to take that brave step and come forward
Right.
to
Yeah.
work towards.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thanks.
there are no other questions, then we can close, and I look forward to seeing you all tomorrow. And I'm so thrilled that you're coming back, and so that we can have these conversations. It just helps clarify things so much better for everybody.
Thank you so much, Dr. Rao.
My pleasure.
Thank you.
Thank you. Good night.
And everybody. Thank you, everybody.
Sure.
See you tomorrow.
Did you have a question, Brittany?
Yeah, it's about like the house on fire idea where it's like people think well, it's like a lot of the talk is about trying to avoid climate change from happening, but I've been hearing talks about trying to adapt to the new climate and focus on that instead. So should we kind of live with the except that we are in the fire in the house and trying to find a way to stay cooler? Or should we try to get out of the house,
Yeah, there's no getting out of the house because we have only one planet, and it's not just climate, because water systems freshwater systems are breaking down. I mean, oxygen levels, uh, nitrogen levels. I mean, everything, right? So you have to look at all 7 planetary boundary transgressions and see how are we solving all of them. Okay. So how can you adapt to all of them? You cannot. If it's going in a downward spiral, you're swirling along with the Earth's life support systems. Okay, and I don't see anything that's getting better, right? This is why I say, folks, we have to do something that makes everything better year by year and not worse year by year. And that the only thing I know that can do that is if the world goes vegan. This is why I say it's inevitable that the world is going to go vegan. It's absolutely inevitable. There's no other way, I see. So if someone has a better way of doing it, tell me. Don't hold it back from all of us. So,
Yeah, I have some ideas as to how it could probably improve, but I believe that the direction is a series of stepping stones. So it's probably going to, I feel that veganism is probably the only thing that's sticking right now enough for people to understand. And even that is a hard enough jump for the whole world to transition to. So I don't think it's really practical to start mentioning the higher levels that society could go. But if you want to go like higher levels, you could think about not cooking, because cooking causes a lot of fires. You could think about not harming plants. So you just instead of like tilling the land, you plant a plant once and then take it from it repeatedly, stuff like that. But I read the chapter earlier today, chapter 5. I'm just reading one by one as the podcast goes along, because it's hard for me to read like a book as is. It's like, I just think about you being in the house. Imagine if you stayed while it's on fire.
yeah.
Like you're saying, hey, let's stay here and do something about it. It's our only home.
Right.
We got it. And try to, like, what
Yeah.
do you think that would have been like?
Well, yeah, it would have been complete chaos, right? I would be pouring water left and right all over the place. I'd be taking a hose, sticking it to my pipe, So I waited for the fire engine to come and do that because they're much bigger equipment than what I have in the house. But the good thing is in the planetary home that's on fire, this is the water that we all can pour. We all can participate in this, right? Changing the food system is the best way for all of us to participate in a solution. And when I explained that to people in Brazil, for instance, when I went to COP30 and I explained that to people in Brazil, they all loved it. They wanted to be part of some global movement that is helping the planet. I mean, they want to be part of that. Okay. And so when I told them there are 200 million vegans around the world who have already started doing this, and so they said, "Oh, yeah, I want to be there too." You have to create that kind of momentum everywhere. And so we need to create all these Paul Reveres, right? So those who go out into the world and say, join the rest of us. We are all doing this. We are doing this everywhere. Every country has vegans now. So trust that nature knows what she's doing and she's using us. She's sort of waking us up one by one by one.
It's kind of funny you mentioned Paul Revere because I had some skit in class with I don't know, it was back during the American Revolution. It was where the class, and I got like Martha Washington. Yay, this will be great because I used to do knitting, and someone else decided that they wanted it. And I was like, but it's a person that was like the opposite of me. So it's like the teacher favored them. And they were like, you're not going to be Martha Washington. I was like, oh, that was the best one I could get. They're like, we will give you Paul Revere instead. And I was like, oh no. I guess apparently that was, they were like, no, this is actually the good one because this got everyone going. So,
Right. Yeah.
and without it, it's like you being on the phone saying, oh, who cares? And wasn't it your kids? They were like, or someone,
Yeah.
they came and they were like, hey, they were like the Paul Reveres. I mean,
Yeah.
imagine if you actually did take up upon what they were saying instead of letting it go on. Is that kind of what we're thinking of here, where we take up on the Paul Reveres and go as quickly as we can and have more than just one, just have a whole bunch of them? Because without it, it's like everyone's asleep, right?
Yeah, absolutely. People are, I think that subconsciously, a lot of people are now aware. Okay. They all know something's wrong. Things are not looking like, I'm cushy and, it'll continue forever. Everyone knows there's a lot of chaos in the system right now. So it's, in that sense, people are ready to hear the message. But we need to tell them that there is these dire situations happening around us, but there is a way out. So there is a solution that we can work on. And it has to be done systematically, right? And, these systems that we are trying to replace, they're not that complex compared to some of the systems that I used to work on, Yeah.
But yeah, no, I did electrical engineering too. I get complex. This is very simple. I think it's more about like the size, and scale rather than the difficulty. And it's like, that's when it gets complicated. I don't believe it's just like the Paul Revere alone. I believe you have to kind of be by the individual as they navigate through, because you can't just say go vegan and then that's it, walk away. They won't even know. They'll probably think chicken vegan or beef's vegan, and that's not going to help. And so that's where the complexities come in. Like, how do you keep supporting everyone as an individual for all the other individuals?
Correct,
not just the Paul Revere level.
It's not just saying we go vegan. It is also explaining to them that you have been lied to. Protein is found in everything. This sort of thing. You have to really teach them science, basic science, right? You have to redo the basic science and how we have been misled in the basic science.
How I've kind of tried to do is do some automating where once I teach one person, they go ahead and teach some other person. So it's like getting the leaders, or at least the most influential, and also putting out some, creating some knowledge, and then being able to share that as quickly as possible. Because it's not just, you can't just tell everyone, hey, do this. Like, you have to meet people where they're at too. So it's like there's more than just one role I see. And I feel like you have to kind of put on many hats, not just like a firefighter, but the rescue. Well, you do rescuing, firefight. Yeah, you'd have to be the ambulance along with being the firefighter and the law enforcement and everything. It's like, how does one person manage to, do it all and be it all? It's like, that's what gets me, because there's too few against the so many. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I mean, you have to give them resources, for every aspect. Here's a resource where you can go check, find your answer. So maybe Frank Lane was talking about creating like an AI companion for everybody. The AI companion would tell them based on their habits how they could do this, right? So an AI app like that, and he's working on something like that.
Pretty good. I'll look forward to that. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. I can connect you with Franklin if you want to work with him on that. Because that's his idea, is to create an AI app that would help people with their own path.
Yeah, that'd be great. I appreciate it. I
Sure.
think time to go, but yeah, that'll be great.
Wonderful. Thank you. Rebecca, we can close.
The house is burning, but we're still sitting in the glow. Phones charged, lights on, pretending we don't know. But the forest is silent, the river's running low, and the flame on our plates is the strongest fire we throw. Put out the fire, put out the fire. Echoes and rise, this is your hour. 7 boundaries broken, the earth pushed past the line. Climate, land, species, fresh water, chemicals, nutrients, oceans in decline. Not danger, disaster in real time. Put out the fire, ooh, put out the fire. Metafudians rise, this is your power. And here in India, one truth stands the same. Milk is not just milk, dairy feeds the flame. Cows and methane, fields and forests turn to grain. Politics, culture, carbon, all wired to the same chain. Every cup of curd is heat in the air. Every block of butter is a forest repair. It's not a small habit, it's a planetary affair. Put out the fire, put out the fire. Echoes and rise, this is our hour. Energy fixes half the hurt, Dr. Rao made that clear. But food fixes the other half. the half that's burning here. Change the plate, change the land, change the future's atmosphere. Put out the fire, put out the fire. Metafoodians unite, this is your choir. Every millet, every fruit, every sapsy, every bean is water on the wildfire of a world we've never seen. Every oil-free bite is a river turning clean. This is not perfection, it's direction. Not pressure, but protection. A week of choices can cool a generation. A company's courage can ignite a nation. Put out the fire, ooh, put out the fire. Echoes and rise, this is your hour. Metafoodians unite, Metafoodians ignite, sharing love in the meta zone, light in the path to a cooler home. Put out the fire.